Hari Om, everybody. We'll get started. It's 10 o'clock. Om. 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 Ganānaṁ tva ganapatikum havamahe kavim kavīnāmupamasravastamam ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामविद्यवत् ॐ गणेशाय नमः ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये वागीशाद्या सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्या स्युः तं नमामि गजाननं वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय कोटिसूर्यसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्य केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् यस्य सन्निधिं मात्रेण सर्वे शिष्याश्च सेवकाः कर्मक्षेत्रे प्रवर्तन्ते चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम् चिन्मयं तं नमाम्यहम्. We will do the Gita Dhyanam. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथिताम् पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीम् भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावः दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धम् गीतामृतम् महत् वसुदेवसुतम् देवम् कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णम् वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतटा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोत्तीर्णा खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधना बोधितम् लोके सज्जन षट्पदैरहरः पेपीयमानम् मुदा भूयात् भारत पंकजम् कलिमल प्रध्वंसिन श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालम् पंगुं लंघयते गिरिम् यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभांगं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्ध्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम् नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। Hari Om, everybody. Welcome back to our weekly Vedanta classes, our Gita Bhāva Dhārā series. Let's recap a little bit. We understood in our previous sessions about Arjuna's Sharanagati, how Arjuna approached Bhagavan Krishna as his teacher, how Bhagavan Krishna is helping through Arjuna, helping us to think holistically in a crisis situation. We learned that we might do a lot of scenario planning, a lot of what if scenarios, but when we are actually in the situation, it's completely a different ball game. This is where Bhagavad Gita teaches us how to think in a structured way. Bhagavan Krishna gave a lesson in grief management. The teaching began in verse number 11 in the second chapter, 2-11. First, Bhagavan gave him from a knowledge perspective, from the Adhyatmika Drushti. He talked about Atma Gnana, Atma Tattva. But before that, he first chastised him and told him to shake it off. And he told him this behavior is unmanly. It didn't help. Then we went through a series of verses, 13th, 16th, 18th, 20th, 23rd in the second chapter, from a Adhyatmika Drushti. He gave him Nitya, Anitya Viveka. What is permanent? What is impermanent? We also saw a lot of Atma Lakshanas, direct pointers to help Arjuna not to grieve. Up to this point, from 2-12 to 2-25, Bhagavan Krishna established that the self, Atma, is unborn, the self is eternal, the self is indestructible. Then in 2-22, which forms the basis for rebirth that we discussed last week, he told Arjuna, even if you considered yourself as Jivatma, there is no need to grieve. Our joy, our sorrows, our fears, our anxieties, he said, they all come and go. Agama apayi. So Gita is teaching us here that all our joys, all our sorrows have a beginning, so it must have an end. Adi and an Anta. And teaching us to smile through it. Then Bhagavan told us about endurance, a little bit of pain management. Like they say, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. He told us to develop titiksha, that endurance to bear. What you cannot cure, you have to endure. This too shall pass kind of attitude. Then we saw from a dharmika drishti, he gave him a lesson. We saw verses 31, 231, 232, and 233 last week. He told Arjuna, you need to fight in this war to establish the dharmic order. He told Arjuna, you are a kshatriya. It is your swadharma. You are fighting on the side of dharma. Not doing so would be adharma. So you need to get up and fight. Then he finally gave him, from a worldly standpoint, laukika drishti, how people will view him if he runs away from this battlefield as a coward. Bhagavan asked him to think about the harm it would do to his reputation, how the history would judge him, what the future generation of warriors will think of him. All that. But now, today, before we start this session, I would like to give a brief introduction, a high level overview on karma siddhanta in Vedanta. There are quite a few newcomers who might not have been there for the basic Vedanta classes. But even if you were there, it'll be a good refresher for you. So Bhagavan Krishna enters into teaching karma yoga in the second chapter. He knows that Sankhya yoga, the Jnana, is the true solution to Arjuna's sorrow. But he knows that many won't be qualified to gain from it because of delusion, moha. So initially, one has to be allowed to pursue worldly pursuits. Then along the way, one would discover that actions and their results, they cannot give permanent satisfaction. If we do finite actions, it will give finite results. It will not give infinite happiness. Then he or she on this path would slowly recognize the futility of these worldly pursuits and develop pratipaksha bhavana. He will realize that all these worldly pursuits have a beginning, so it must have an end. And ultimately, dissatisfaction is guaranteed at the end, no matter what we pursue. Not satisfaction guaranteed. Dissatisfaction is guaranteed. So you develop dosha drishti, start to see the defects in the worldly pursuits, which will lead to developing dispassion or vairagya. And that dispassionate mind can pursue Sankhya yoga, Jnana yoga. Therefore, karma yoga is introduced by Bhagavan Krishna as a means to Sankhya yoga. So, what is this karma? In many languages, especially in South Indian languages, we say, oh, it's all my karma. Even in Western parlance, a lot of words have become popular. We see these experts who come on TV use terms like karma, pandit, mantra. All these have become very part of the vocabulary. So, what is karma? The word karma simply means action. So, each individual reaps the fruits of his or her actions, either performed in this life or in the past life. There is no deed which is small. There is no deed which is great, good, or bad. None of them will go without an effect. Like they say, if you do the crime, you do the time. Like that. So, karma is not just fate driven theory. Once we understand how our vasanas, our innate tendencies that drive our actions, we may hastily conclude, we are helpless victims of our destiny or our past vasanas. Although we have come to this world to enjoy or to suffer through a mixture of joys and sorrows, sukha dukkha, because of our past karmas, what we have done in the past, we saw that in Viveka Chudamani, those who attended those sessions, these are simply called as prarabdha. We are here because of our past prarabdha. But we still have the freedom to carve out, to become the architects of our future through our self effort called Purushartha. But most importantly, none of this is possible without the grace of the Lord. Not even a blade of grass will move. Trunam api na chalati. So the law of karma is logical. It is based on the theory of cause and an effect. We are usually ignorant of our actions that we have done in our past lives that has created our present destiny. We are who we are because of our past actions. This play of cause and an effect can only take place in the medium of time. First, there must be a cause, and then it will be followed by an effect. Therefore, the past is the cause and the present is the effect. And the present itself becomes the cause with reference to the future. Since we exist in the present, like Eckhart Tolle would say, here and now. We are not just the effect of the past, prarabdha, but also the architects of our future. I hope you got that. So there are 4 types of purusharthas: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma is doing the right action, righteous action. Artha, self-effort when it is directed for the acquisition of wealth and other worldly possessions. And kama is the self-effort towards fulfillment or enjoyment of our desires. And moksha is the self-effort towards liberation from the cycle of births and deaths, perpetual cycle of birth and death called samsara. Notice these 4 pillars: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Dharma and moksha are the 2 bookends. Why? It is designed in such a way that we need to acquire the wealth, artha, in a dharmic way, or fulfill the desires, kama, in a dharmic way, towards moksha, which is the ultimate goal of human existence. So this is the boundary condition. So even when we are doing a puja, when the pujari says in the sankalpa, chaturvida pala purushartha siddhyartham aham pujam karishye, I do this puja. So this is what he is chanting about. So that efforts fructify in this direction. So when we do the karma, when we do an action, we get a result. It is called as karma phala. And these fall under 3 categories. Punya karma, when we do meritorious action or dharmic action, we get good results. That usually translates to sukham. Then there is papa karma, when we do wrong or adharmic action, it leads to bad results, dukkham, suffering. Mishrita karma, actions having mixed result, a mixture of joy and sorrow. And karmas are performed by 3 of our instruments. Kayika karma, through our body. Vachika karma, through our speech. Manasika karma, mind. Kaya, vacha, manasa. That is why when we say kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yadyat sakalam parasmai Narayanayeti samarpayami. I surrender all that I have done, consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, through my body, through my speech, through my intellect. All that I offer it to you, Lord. You neutralize it. You take care of that. So these karmas that we do can be categorized under 5 broad categories. First is the kamya karma. Karma performed to get a particular desire, to fulfill a particular desire, to get a particular result. I'm talking about Vedika karma here. For example, in Ramayana, Dasharath Maharaj, we know, performed the Putra Kameshti Yaga for conceiving children, they say, or they say Jyotishta Homa Yaga for attainment of heaven and all that. They are all good examples of these Vaidika karma. Then we have Nitya karma, obligatory duties prescribed by the Vedas. The type of duty depends on the phase or stage of life we are in. For example, Sandhya Vandanam or Gayatri Japa is daily duty for a brahmachari. Why do we need this daily duty? So that we bring in discipline into our lives, disciplining the mind. The third variety of karma is kartavya karma. Most of us here fall under this category. Our karmas prescribed by our parents or our teachers, even our government, society, our place of employment. We have an obligation to perform diligently our duty, to fulfill depending on our roles, depending on our responsibility within the organization we work for. Kartavya karma. Then there is prayaschitta karma, purificatory or a corrective action, recognizing our wrongdoing and trying to minimize the effect of it. Samskara karma is also a part of that. Like when we perform karmas as purificatory act, when we do Upaniṣads or a marriage ceremony, birth of the child, graduation. Why do we do all these rituals? So that the performance of these rituals will create an impression in our mind, samskara vidhi, and gives a sense of new beginning. Then there is nishiddha karma, prohibited action. That needs to be avoided at all costs, like stealing or prostitution, these type of nishiddha karmas. Now we have a broad understanding of the types of karmas. Let us turn our attention how to turn this karma that we have to do to karma yoga. That is where the upliftment comes for the sadhaka. As a group, many of us have been through the text of Upadesha. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Ishwararpitam Nechaya Krutam Chitta Shodhakam Mukti Sadhakam. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi has given a 3-point plan. Simple to execute. Bringing God into the equation in every action we do, meaning all kartavya karmas must be done dedicated to the Lord. Arpita buddhi. What does this do? Instead of I am the doer, the kartrutva bhava is dissolved. I become the karana, the instrument, his instrument of action. Then the performance of karma as worship of the Lord. Dasya buddhi. You are my commander, Lord. I am your servant. And most importantly, all karma phala, the results of my action, I accept it as his prasada. Prasada buddhi. When we go to the temple, we don't ask what they give, we accept it. If they give tirtham, we accept it. If they give one or two raisins, we take it as prasada. Or if they give a full course meal, we eat that happily. Like that. Prasada buddhi for accepting all of the karma phala. So while performing the karmas, we recognize the Lord as karma dhyaksha and recognize him as karma phala data while receiving. Karma done this way, what it does? Chitta shodhakam mukti sadhakam. It helps in the chitta shuddhi. It helps in the purification of our mind and intellect, brings in chitta ekagrata, focus in our mind. Now, with that much background on karma, let us see what Bhagavan advises through Arjuna in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Until now, Bhagavan has told Arjuna that this Atma, this self is unborn, it is deathless, therefore there is no need to grieve. He reminded him his swadharma as a kshatriya. But even after hearing this Atma Gnana, Arjuna is still emotionally disturbed. Mental agitations are there. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna is bringing in the spiritual discipline. Before this mind can abide in this Atma Tattva, it must first gain that inner balance. It must gain that emotional maturity. It needs to gain that freedom from anxiety, especially about the results. So Bhagavan Krishna starts him off in 2-38. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papamavapsyasi. One more time together. Sukha dukkha same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau. Tato yuddhaya yujyasva naivam papamavapsyasi. He is preparing Arjuna how to develop this win-win attitude. He is telling him, act. but act with equanimity. Samatva. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labhau jaya jayau. He is telling Arjuna, that is all of us, treat pleasure and pain. Sukha dukkha. Labha labhau, gain and loss. Jaya jayau, jaya ajaya. Victory and defeat. How? With a balanced mind. This is samatva, equanimity. This is the foundation of karma yoga. So work done or any action that is done with our likes or dislikes, raga dvesha, what this does, it creates anxiety as we work. Then it creates agitations. If the results meet my expectation, I am happy, temporarily though. If it does not meet my expectation, I am sad. If it consistently does not meet my expectation, I am angry. I am even depressed. So Bhagavan Krishna here is saying work done without like or dislike. Done, work is done because it has to be done. Like that Nike swoosh. Just do it. What this does is it keeps our mind calm as we work, equipoised when we get the result. Let it be joy, sorrow, profit, loss, success, failure, no matter what. See, some of us are feverishly active. Some of us are hyperactive. Some are workaholics. Ambitious. We are all go-getters in our own fields. Most of the times, when we perform actions, why do we do it? Either to gain more wealth, getting more famous, getting recognition, appreciation, so on. So, what this does, while working, we are tensed up. While waiting for the results, we are stressed out. And when we receive the results, we are elated if the results meet our expectation. If not, everybody will know about it. So, in short, we are agitated throughout the process of doing action. So, when we do actions for me, my sake, selfish motive, selfish actions, it is mamata. When we do actions with a balanced mind, without getting affected, no matter what the results are, that is samata. Mamata to samata. There is one more step called Purnata. We will talk about it as we go along. So karma done with that attitude becomes karma yoga. This is the spirit of karma yoga. So Bhagavan Krishna contrasts two approaches from 2-39, 39th verse to 46th verse. One is sakama karma, actions done for results purely motivated by selfish desires. And then there is karma yoga, actions done with inner detachment, dedicating all actions to the Lord, offering the results to the Lord. This way the mind becomes focused. It becomes steady. Buddhya yukto yaya partha karma bandham prahasyasi. With what attitude we do our actions, that is what counts, Bhagavan Krishna says. And this slowly helps us towards Jnana Marga, for knowledge on this highest truth. And then 2-40 he says, Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even if we do a little bit of selfless act, he says, it brings great benefits. Even if you fail, he says, your attitude, your motive is what counts. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kuru nandana. Doing action with that single pointed focus, with that resolute mind and intellect, with a focused mind. See what happens. A bhogi, what does he want? Always concerned about the result of the action. His enjoyment as a result of his or her karma. That is the concern. Whereas a karma yogi, true karma yogi, what is his motivation? He derives joy while he is doing the action. Because for him, it must be done. He derives joy in completing the action. He derives joy while doing it with full focus. And most importantly, he derives joy in doing something good to benefit all, to benefit the entire community, to benefit the entire country. And of course, he derives joy in his own self-development in the bargain. That is the byproduct. So that leads us to the most often quoted verse in Bhagavad Gita on karma. 2-47 Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Ma karma phala heturbhuh mate sangotsva karmani. See, there are 4 ways to look at this verse. Karmani eva adhikaraha te ma phaleshu kadachana. Everybody will know the first line. You have the choice to do your action. Bhagavan is saying, your choice is in doing the action, not the result of the action. Then the next aspect is, do not get attached to inaction, alasya or laziness. That's a no-no. Alasyam hi manushyasya maharipuhu. Laziness is the greatest enemy of man. Like they say, 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration, they say. Hard work. Finally, Bhagavan is saying, do not get attached to the results of the action. So again, going back to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in Upadesha Karturagnaya prapyate palam karma kim param karma tajjadam krutimaho dadau patana karanam phalam shashvatam gati nirodhakam. So we have control over our actions. How do we do it? With what attitude we do it? He is advising us not to get attached to the results of our action. And then Bhagavan continues, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga vuchyate. Samatvam yoga vuchyate. So here he is advising, we need to perform all our work without attachment to the results. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya. Be balanced in success or failure. It is very important to learn to face success with humility, failure with dignity. That evenness of mind is called yoga. Samatvam yoga vuchyate. And how do we get there? Doing all our actions, dedicating it to the Lord, doing it not for my sake, but for God's sake. Accepting all of the results as the gift from God, prasada. So these verses on karma yoga, we can also look at it as secret of happiness. Why do we do all our actions? We do all the karmas, all our actions for the sake of happiness. But if you notice, happiness is in the future. Do we want to be happy now or in the future? And if you notice, most of our actions, one day when I do this, one day when I get this, one day when I become this, I will be happy. See, we live in a society of instant gratification. We say, I want happiness now. And in life, if we analyze, we are either preparing to be happy or we are pretending to be happy. Think about that. If someone asks us, "Are you happy?" Usually, what do we say? Of course, I am happy. Inside, it is burning. The results of any karma or action that we do is only in the future. And the future is always uncertain. Result is in the future, and future is uncertain. We say today, market is so uncertain with all the geopolitical instability and all that. Every news cycle, it is changing so fast. When I do an action, if I get the result, we also know that the results are temporary and it is time bound. Then again back to square one. Karturagnaya prapyate palam. And the cycle continues. So that is why the beauty of karma is that we can only do actions in the present. So to perform karma in the present, enjoying what we do is discovering happiness in performing the right action that benefits all. So our Puja Gurudev used to simply say, do your best, leave the rest. So with that, let us stop here and do some Namasmaranam. Achyutam Keshavam Ramanarayanam Krishna Damodaram Vasudevam Harim Sridharam Madhavam Gopika Vallabham Janaki Nayakam Ramachandram Bhaje. Sixth one today. Dhenuka Rishtako Nishtakrit Dveshinam Keshiha Kamsahrid Vamshika Vadakaha Putana Kopakaha Suraja Kelano Balagopalakaha Patu Mam Sarvada. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhave. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all see auspiciousness. May none suffer. Om peace, peace, peace. With that, I'll open it up for our interactive session. Please stay back if your schedule permits. I would like to hear your comments and thoughts. Thank you. Give me one